All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Flash and Dash podcast. I am Flash, and with me, as always, is my partner in crime, Dash. What's
Hey
up?
yo, what's good? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? Living
Chilling.
dream.
And with us, as always, is the best producer in the business, Andre Wingate. What's good?
Yo, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, all right. So, what's good? How you been feeling? How you been living? How are things?
Oh, you talking to me? You talking
I
to me?
am.
Oh, my bad. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm living good. COVID been treating people well. So, I'm just kind of working through that and what that's like, military side.
Yeah,
So, as far as gaming goes, though, I haven't been able to dive too much into my console this past week
right.
from my class and stuff that's going on. But it's pretty much done. Just out process next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been on my phone. I've been on Civilization 6 on
Mm-hmm.
my mobile device.
Right.
And surprisingly, there's not too much hangups, not too many bugs it's not that big of a game. I think it was only 3 gigs on my phone.
Right.
But you'd expect a game like that or originated on PC to either scale back on a lot of things or take some things out, but a lot of the same components, even I would say all of them, even the DLC is still very much so included, and it's been a
And
journey. It's fun.
yeah, and it's crazy because the thing with that is mobile games have come so far over this course of time where games like that, especially, they don't have to dial back too far because what phones are capable of up to where we reach now in technology wise, like they're they can hold their own in terms of computing power.
Yeah,
Obviously it's not going to be, we're not talking high end PC, but effectively your phone is a computer in your pocket.
essentially.
So it's not like they're incapable of these things. And again, being a mobile gamer is not a bad thing. It's not like, when people started playing games on their phone, it was kind of a taboo thing in the beginning where it's like, oh, you're a mobile gamer. It was like, oh, people would hold that against you. But real talk, it's like, it's a seamless thing where you look at games like Fortnite that you can play on your phone, you can play on your PC, or whatever, your Switch, and you can play all that together and just have it be seamless. Like my
Yeah,
sons do it all the time. So it's like, you know, where can we go from there? And I feel like Call of Duty has a perfect opportunity to push that barrier because Call of Duty Mobile looked good. It looked great. It played good, especially if you were playing on Wi-Fi. If you were playing on Wi-Fi, forget it.
yeah.
If you had a controller, you're playing with Bluetooth, you would have an unfair advantage. But hey, oh well. I mean,
And waxing people.
such is life, right?
Yes.
So I mean, and especially some of those maps. Some of those maps were from legit like console Call of Duty games from previous games, but those were full maps. So it's like that game I feel like can bridge the gap maybe going forward where you could be playing the new Call of Duty, and it's not just the mobile version is separate, but it's a cross-platform release where the new Call of Duty game you can get on your consoles, you can get on your phone as well and play with those people cross-platform. I think that's the game to kind of bridge that gap. And again, not taking anything away from Fortnite, but the audience is different. The people playing Call of Duty and these different type of shooters and stuff like that it's a different crowd altogether than people that are playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
And Fortnite graphically requires much less than Call of Duty does. Let's be honest.
Hmm.
So I think that that's a thing, and I think that that can be a thing going forward, which we'll see what happens there. Um, I've been playing. I got back on Path of Exile. One thing I've realized about Path of Exile is that you once you get to a point in that game, you can't stay away from it too long because it just doesn't let you. Like I didn't play it for like 2 days or 3 days earlier in the week last week, and it was just like and then get back on there, and then you're on there for 3 hours. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, damn, what happened? Like, you do a few missions, and now I'm like level like 69 or something like that, and I just got to Act 9. But it's like I played some of that, and I played a lot of Jedi Fallen Order this week as well.
How's that been for you?
That game is hot. And, I played it. I got it May the 4th, obviously, because that's when you get all the good Star Wars deals.
Yeah.
So I picked it up, and I played it. And initially, fun fact, I didn't play it a lot when I first started playing it. I played through and I watched through the intro and the tutorial and stuff like that. But I put it down and I didn't come back to it for like a good 2 weeks because I couldn't figure out how to invert the camera.
Yeah.
Because I went through every settings option in the whole thing, and I'm like, I was upset because I'm like, you're not finna tell me that there's no invert y-axis but like option, and if you don't play inverted y-axis, you're not a human being. But something's wrong with you if you don't play inverted y-axis, by the way.
Is that for specific games or every game?
No, every game. I don't get it.
Even Call of Duty.
FPS, third person, I'm inverting y-axis for every. That's my first move is invert y-axis.
So you're legitimately playing
third person
inverted y-axis.
Inverted y-axis for everything.
That's why your KD's so bad.
No, false. That is incorrect. We're not doing that.
Aim is shit.
Terrible.
No, it's fine.
But yeah, it's but I figured it out. I literally had to Google it. I Googled it and realized that I wasn't the only person having this problem, because clearly there were like forums and articles and like posts, and people were like, yo, why can't I invert the y-axis? There was a lot of angry posts about why they couldn't invert the y-axis.
So angry.
Yeah.
So
and
angry.
Then one person, like I found a video, it was like, yo, he was like, you just have to scroll down in that main options menu. It doesn't tell you can scroll down, but you can scroll down further. And I was like, wow, that's a real simple thing that it would have been nice if because usually when you can scroll past a certain point and you can't see it, the game will tell you scroll. It'll say on the side scroll, but that's not an option in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. But I digress. The game is great. It'll reach a point where I'm done with it, and then it'll just be done, and I can get rid of it because it's a story-based game. It has no multiplayer. So once I'm done with it, I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. And then, maybe I'll run through, I heard they got some DLC, and I'll run through that, and maybe some story mode DLC. But, it is what it is. So that's that. All right. So moving into our first topic of the cast, let's talk about, let's talk about this Mafia Trilogy release. So somewhere during the week, and I think it had been rumored a couple weeks ago or however long ago it was that, there was some teasers that maybe there was getting a new Mafia release or something like that. So early in the week, here it is. They just dropped a Mafia Trilogy. Like they dropped the information. It was just like available now. It's like, oh, okay. Well, all right, great. So, and in that you can get so it's kind of funny what they did, because right out the gate, you can get the definitive version of Mafia 3 and definitive editions of Mafia 2 and Mafia 3. And they were like, but Mafia 1 remake, you're not going to get that until like August or something like that. August 28th. You can get the Mafia remake, which is kind of weird because it's like you drop a trilogy. It's like, here's a trilogy like remake of or whatever available to you, but you can only get 2 games right now. You gotta wait like 3 months for the other games, and it's like, oh, okay, that's weird. But that's what they did. Now, the funny thing with that is, apparently, some new information was the Mafia 2 edition of this bundle apparently has a lot of issues. It's got a lot of glitching issues, a lot of clipping issues, and a lot of performance issues, which is unfortunate because it's almost like, well, did you test this properly before you
Hell no, they
decided to?
didn't.
Clearly,
You know why they ain't tested? Because it's 2K games.
Here
And
we go.
I got some words
Oh,
for 2K after I get my laptop charger back straight. Listen here.
Oh man.
2K.
Man, I'm gonna let you go.
I have this gripe with 2K right now because they created one of my favorite games of all time in ESPN 2K5. So
the best football game ever made.
Yeah, we'll get to that one day on the SGA podcast.
Still better than Madden 19.
So
20.
15 years
21.
ago they came out with ESPN 2K5, and since then, since probably 2K11, 12, and so forth, and so on and so forth, 2K has slowly and consistently rushed themselves. And I say, the same way that we talk about Madden's legacy issues.
You're talking about NBA 2Ks, right?
NBA 2K specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not even NBA 2K, because it also has gone as far as to affect its WWE 2K games.
Yep.
You don't talk about 2K baseball anymore because
that's dead. It's a dead franchise.
So the same way that we talk about Madden's legacy issues, I think 2K has began to start developing, not even began to start. I think it's just the time to start realizing, recognizing the fact that 2K has legacy issues.
Exactly. Thank you. It's the same problem that Madden has, legacy issues.
So the same exact problem that happens when you do not have competition in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
Across this market that is the gaming industry, you start to develop these issues that really originate from just pure laziness.
Yep.
You don't have to compete. You don't have to put in the effort. You don't have to work on the little things that actually matter. Simple things like making sure your game doesn't have the bugs that games had fucking 10 years ago.
Yep.
So these games consistently release. You just drop this out of literally nowhere. Yep. Which Mafia has been one of my, I guess I won't say necessarily favorite franchises, but it was one that I definitely enjoyed.
Mafia is a good franchise. Before I let you continue, Mafia is a good franchise, and I don't remember much about Mafia 3. I think Mafia 3 is kind of where I think I played a little bit of the beginning part of that game. I think Mafia 3 is where it kind of like tailed off a little bit.
It did.
Mafia 1 and 2. Yeah, Mafia 1 and 2 are very good. I remember doing a review for Mafia 2 back in the day, years ago. And I pretty much remember enjoying it. But Mafia is a good franchise, and Mafia has this, kind of foothold in the gaming, world where it's like, it's not about, there's no multiplayer. Yeah. You're not coming there for any multiplayer whatsoever. It's a story driven game. They're not even going to pretend like they're going to give you any type of multiplayer. No, it's a story driven game. It's a story driven franchise, and you're there for that. And it's set in an era that is very, shall I say, enjoyed by a lot of people. Right. It's that kind of like, it's Mafia stuff. It's like, it's why so many people love The Sopranos. Sopranos was a big thing for a reason. And people like that kind of gangster, that old school Mafia stuff. You're talking about shit like a few good men and shit like that. Like those type of, like, these are the things that's like, those are the, Goodfellas. Like, that's the stuff that people, I don't know why I said a few good men, but that's the kind of stuff that, people really enjoy. So it's like playing that is kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. But yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just, I guess I'm trying to wrap it up by saying that 2K has consistently showed their rear end, for lack of better words, and they continue to do so with the release of these games. And 2K games specifically, that developer, 2K games, that publisher rather.
Right.
And you continue to do so. You continue to release games that people, I guess, enjoy. but it takes so much away from the experience when you have these issues. And I can go as far back to even not a game was published by 2K Games, and Bethesda and Elder Scrolls Online, where we were sitting there.
Oh God.
We were waiting. And I'm a big fan of Bethesda, at least Bethesda prior to Fallout 76 and prior to Elder Scrolls Online, even though Elder Scrolls Online made the turnaround. We were sitting there waiting until 4 a.m., like 4:30 in the morning, before people could actually begin to just log on and create their character.
That wasn't
Still took a little bit more time for people to actually get into the game.
Everybody didn't get in at the same time.
No, they didn't. So these issues, which I get happen. I'm not one of those people that are like clamoring and ripping these.
It shouldn't happen to that extent.
It shouldn't happen to that extent. In a game that I guess you plan to release for this extent amount of time because you just dropped it out of nowhere, you should have ran some sort of test to be able to mitigate some of these issues, and they didn't. They neglected to. And it is showing very much so, but at the same time, you know, people still make their jokes of it. They still post the videos of the glitches, and they'll enjoy it still for what it is at its rudiments, at its foundation, because it is still very much so Mafia.
Correct.
But at the same time, you know, a bigger picture, looking back, taking a step back from all this, we just shouldn't have to run into these problems time and time again. And for a game, hopefully not when it's a bigger game. If Last of Us had these issues,
oh, forget it. But it's not gonna have those issues.
Correct.
That's different. That's like those type of games wouldn't have those issues. You talk about Last of Us game, a AAA first party title is not gonna have. You're not gonna find Halo's not gonna have those issues. It's just not gonna happen.
So and then I would ask you this question then: what is a game or a developer or a publisher like EA or 2K's final goal outside of just damn money grabs all the time? Like you would think that you would want to elevate yourself to this level of supremacy and quality. You know, you would think that that's what you would want to be and want to represent in this gaming industry.
They used to do that.
So, and you see what happens when you start to turn into money grabs and Bethesda, and you had a dog shit game in Fallout 76 at its early stages, and it's gotten better now, quote unquote. And they dropped a subscription service for $100.
Oh, thank you.
$100 a year, I think it was.
I'm good on that.
I'm good. I'm good.
Amazon Prime.
I mean, literally a whole Amazon Prime subscription for a year. Not even if you're a student. But I say that to say, when you start to go for the money, when you start to try and grab the bag without actually putting quality out there, it shows. We're not dumb. Some of these people are just going to throw their money at it. Yeah. But for the general consumer, hell, they're even skeptical about buying new consoles.
Correct.
So what makes you think that they're going to invest in your game, invest over $100 into your game, or even just the general $60 into your game, even if it is 3 games, if it's shit?
Yeah, they're not. And those are excellent points. And there's nothing more to be said about that except that they just need to step their game up. Like either, you know, put up or shut up, and you know, shit or get off the pot, really. And, you know, bring your games up to a certain standard. But again, they don't always have to. Certain types of games, they don't have to. Especially when you talk about games like Madden and stuff like that. They're never going to bring their games up to a certain standard unless it's competition. So, with that said, let's move right along to our next story. So, the rumor on the streets is the new title for, first of all, the new Call of Duty game that, in my opinion, is not a rumor, because we get a Call of Duty game every year. It's just a matter of which, you know, developer you get it from. Either you get it from Infinity Ward or you get it from Treyarch or Sledgehammer. They just go on a rotation, right? So this year, originally it was supposed to be Sledgehammer was supposed to get the this was Sledgehammer's year to release the game. And in my personal opinion, without having any actual knowledge of insider information, I think that now it switched. It switched from Sledgehammer's year. They switched to Treyarch. Now I think that happened because Modern Warfare was so successful and it was so good. It was such a return to form for Call of Duty that they didn't want Sledgehammer to come in and fuck it up this year. So they were like, shit.
Facts. I'm just gonna hop in here and just say facts.
Yeah. So they didn't want to fuck that up. So they were like, hey, we need Treyarch to follow Infinity Ward this year. So Black Ops for this year. Now, with that said, with that information, we knew we were getting a Black Ops game this year or whatever they do. They always, it's been Black Ops, and I don't think they're going to change it. So the title, the rumored title for this year, or the leaked title now, is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So here's my problem with that. I'm just going to speak my piece on that. And
speak it.
I don't want these fucking old shooting games. I don't care about shooting games from 50, 60 years ago. I don't care. I don't want to use old weapons. I don't. I mean, here's what I don't. Right? No, fuck Cold War. That's like the 60s. I don't want that shit.
That's like 69 and shit. Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want. Here's what I don't want from my shooting games. I don't want shit from fucking 50 years ago, and I don't want shit from 80 years into the future. I don't want either, unless it's Titanfall. Titanfall managed to find like this niche that was fucking amazing. I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
We might have to talk about that someday because Titanfall 3 is definitely not in development in any way, shape, or form.
And I don't know why. You know what? I feel like it is.
About that.
I feel like it is, and they're just not telling anybody. And if it is, Titanfall 3 is the best kept secret, and that's going to be the biggest bombshell when fucking Microsoft shadow drops that shit with the Xbox Series X.
Oh shit! Don't get me excited, Coach.
No, that's gonna be the biggest like put it on the table moment of 2020.
Wow.
It's just like,
wow.
Oh.
Hey, that's Microsoft version of dropping the big Joker in a spades game.
You facts.
Sit right. Fucking slapping the dominoes table. Pow!
That's exactly what that is. And it's like,
man.
You know, but it's like, I just feel like I don't want those two things. And when Call of Duty tried to copy Titanfall, and we got all those stupid like Advanced Warfare and all those stupid Call of Duty games that nobody fucking played, and I don't care who you are, I don't care. That's the moment where even the hardcore of Call of Duty fans were like, I'm not checking for that. They didn't buy it. They weren't playing that. So it was like, I don't want futuristic shit, and I don't want old World War. I'm done with World War II, World War I. I don't want that anymore. And it's funny because Cold War is after that, and I get that, but it's still old. The weapons haven't made their I guess their evolution yet. And I think the Cold War stuff is very going to be like, that era of war was very like espionage-ish.
Yeah.
So, which is fine for what they can do with the single player and what they can do with the story mode. And I think that'll be dope. I think the story mode will probably shine a lot in this game, but that doesn't help me for the multiplayer. For the multiplayer, I'm just getting more old Black Ops shit. And I'm kind of done with that. Modern Warfare last year was fucking perfect. Like, in terms of what they could do with it. It wasn't a perfect game. It wasn't, but I don't think this is the natural, direction to go, but I don't care for it. They would have to show me a lot for me to care. That's how I feel about it. That's my piece.
I'm like 60-40 on it. 40 the accepting portion, only because Call of Duty tends to be very streaky. So they'll go on this run of decent games, decent to good games.
Yep.
And then they'll drop off. And I think they're just going back to simply what works, and they're literally going back to what happened with, I guess, Modern Warfare 3, even though I hate that damn game.
Oh, God.
They went with Modern Warfare 3 and they go to Black Ops, and then they continue that they continue that run. Right. So they continue that run, and they're recycling that because that's what worked. So they revamp that. They find a new kind of area in the timeline to really work with, because that Black Ops 1 story mode was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, it was.
Just that level of stealth kind of operations, and kind of that mystery of, you know, the secret weapon that was, you know, being developed, and all of those things. That shit was really dope.
Yeah.
So to go back into that, I think is pretty cool, or would be cool potentially. But here I am, I'm talking about all of this stuff and them recycling this, and I'm just hoping, I'm not even hoping, because what I really want, you know what I really want? You know what I really want? I want Battlefield back. So I really want Battlefield back to I would say virtually do the same damn thing. Hell, even go back to bring Bad Company back. Bring anything back.
Bad Company.
Bring anything back that isn't some shit in the past, or some shit in the future. Don't even worry about it that, because if you do it in the future, just make another damn Battlefront game with DICE and call it a day. But just to get Battlefield back and get that modern warfare feel, just not Call of Duty, is something that I'm really kind of hoping for at some point, because they took the year off, I would say, after Battlefield 5.
I think so.
Battlefield 1 and 5 were virtually the same damn game.
Pretty much. That was their problem.
Recycled as hell. They trying to compete with Call of Duty when they don't necessarily need to compete with them.
Nope. They had their own lane carved out, and then they tried to jump back into the Call of Duty lane.
They try to jump back into the Call of Duty game for a money grab, because they realized that these micro purchases and all of these things were something that people just capitalize off of. But that's the issue with EA, right? So EA tries to hop into this. EA tries to hop into this game, and they're like, "Hey, DICE, check this out. We need you guys to put this in your game." And DICE is like, maybe, okay. So we're gonna do it. Yeah. And look what happens. You're forced to release something every year when you know your MO has been not to release anything for the past 2 to 3 years.
I think they need to, I don't know what they're going to have to do, but again, I agree, bring back Battlefield, but I need it to be like Battlefield 3, 4-ish.
No, like right? Battlefield 3, like literally just leveling up to just try and get a different ammunition style for your sniper rifle, just unlock the 50 cal rounds. Like that was something that you had to work for, not just buy, or not just like you actually had to do missions or do challenges to unlock these things. So you had your goal, or you had an objective every time you would dive into a game outside of just completing what was in front of you, completing the objective of the mission. You go into every game trying to figure out what you would need to do to get these certain weapons, or to get these attachments that you would need to do. It just added these so much layers and depth to a game outside of just getting your weapon gold, or Damascus.
And Battlefield is great for that, because Battlefield is, again, its lane was, it's the opposite of Call of Duty, right? Battlefield is not about kill streaks and you get, 8 kills and you get a chopper. Like it's not designed that way. It doesn't play that way. You can't do that in that game.
Yeah.
You want to use a chopper, you go fly the helicopter and have somebody man the gunner.
Hell out of that shit.
There's no
like people would join games just to be in these vehicles.
Correct.
Literally. Just to be in a tank, just to be in a little bird, fucking flying 2 feet from the ground.
And both games could exist,
interdependently.
Correct, because Call of Duty is, for all intents and purposes, an arcade shooting game, and Battlefield was a more simulation shooter. it's it was that's just the way it is. And those two games could it's very much how those type of sports games could cohabitate. When you're talking about back in the day, you're talking about the when you had the NFL games and like you had Maddens and 2Ks, but you also had like NFL Street, and people played it and it was fire. You had your mainstream simulation FIFA game, but you also had FIFA Street. Those games could occupy the same space because some people is the same thing like racing games. Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon, prime example, perfect example. Like that's the best example right now running, like literally. Like I mean, so it's like bring back Battlefields. Battlefield's great. Battlefield's so good, and they just need to bring that back. They need to bring that back, or just let Respawn get back on the horse. And again, Respawn did Titanfall, right? I don't remember. Yeah, I think they did. Yeah. Fact check.
Yeah, Drake, get on that.
I think I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Respawn did Titanfall. So I think here's what I think. I think, and this is gonna sound, Respawn did Titanfall. I think Apex Legends should have been titled Titanfall Legends, and they could have tweaked it a little bit and made it.
But that not even dare I say that's the exact reason that we do not have a Titanfall 3
is because of Apex.
Because of Apex Legends.
And because of how successful Apex Legends is.
Correct.
And I think as much as as popular as that property is now, could you imagine how much more popular it would have been if you just slapped Titanfall on instead of Apex? All they had to do, but again, that sullies the fact, of them being able to eventually get around to a Titanfall 3. If you label this Titanfall Legends, it although they probably still could have, because then it'd be like, okay, this is a game that exists as this. It's just a battle royale and it's that. And then down the line you get to a Titanfall 3 and it can still occupy as it does. I don't know. I feel like,
and to think that they like, I feel like they should. I would even say there's still so much opportunity for them to incorporate that branding and that marketing for Titanfall, because we're using weapons that are literally in Titanfall.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the Mastiff, literally,
and that's the thing about
M7 or whatever the hell it is, that DMR.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's the thing about Apex. Apex actually takes place in the Titanfall universe.
Correct. So why? And I know for a fact, especially people or the younger generation who wasn't really around when Titanfall first dropped, right? And the fact that Titanfall 2 wasn't marketed the way that it needed to be, so they definitely don't really know the crime. So you have no idea the universe, or the fact that Titanfall 2 is, you can still hop in multiplayer games on Titanfall 2, might I add.
Yep.
And people are still on it heavy.
Of course,
so like,
it's great, and it's still unique. That's why
it's so unique, and the fact that there is literally nothing that even I can't say that even resembles, that you can even notably tie back to Titanfall and that universe for somebody who doesn't know what Titanfall is absurd and is criminal, to your specific word choice. I feel like they're missing out on an opportunity to set themselves up for success for Titanfall 3.
They are, and a lot of people don't even remember. And that same crowd of people that you are talking about probably don't even know that Respawn is founded because that was the original. That Respawn team, that's the team that left the original Infinity Ward back in the original Modern Warfare 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
They had their disputes with Infinity Ward and Activision, and they left and made their own company, which ended up being Respawn under the EA branch. And they made their own game, which was Titanfall. And it was like, and that project kind of came out of nowhere. And it was like, everybody was checking for it, like, yo, Respawn, like, what's their title going to be? What's their game going to be? Like, we know they're working on something. And then they end up being Titanfall. And it was like, whoa. And that was the time when Call of Duty was like trash. It had hit its real low point. So it was like, oh man, like, yo, they're killing it, and Call of Duty's trash right now. and then Call of Duty copied Titanfall, and then whole Advanced Warfare shit where they tried to do the same thing,
wall jumping and all that shit,
and it was trash.
Garbage. Fucking garbage.
They totally didn't do it right. And then from Titanfall, we got Apex Legends, and Apex was killing the game for a while. Apex, I'm not gonna say was, because Apex is still hot.
They still got their
so many people.
So
many people still playing Apex. It's not going anywhere. Fortnite's not going anywhere. Call of Duty was able to get some of the market with Warzone, but I don't think they were able to grasp the market, because Warzone, and a lot of people have mentioned this, Warzone still feels like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Warzone doesn't, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but Warzone doesn't feel like a battle royale game. It just feels like another mode in Call of Duty. It still feels like it's Call of Duty. And they're trying to have ways to try to separate from that. But going, and again, we'll talk about that. But that's where Warzone, but again, that's where all these games can exist kind of in the same space. So, Warzone is good for what that does, and it's good in Call of Duty. But again, as I've mentioned before in some other time frame, some other videos somewhere, these three games can operate, again, all in the same space, because Fortnite does these are all battle royale games that do things differently. Fortnite does it where it's like, it's not about how many people you kill. It's not about, Fortnite is really just like, it's a battle royale building simulator.
But even so, like Fortnite, speaking of Fortnite, and this is one thing that I will give them credit for, which I know plenty of people have talked about already. Have you had the chance to check out this Travis Scott concert? And they had a concert beforehand.
I heard about it, but I didn't.
I would genuinely, absolutely challenge you to just watch. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but to watch that and to see, literally, especially in this time of COVID-19 and all these other things, to watch that be placed into a video game where people can just join and experience something together in that way. Like Fortnite has, and they had a concert before with Dead Mouse, Dead MOU5, the EDM artist. Correct me if I'm wrong, people out there. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But literally that concert or that event in itself is what separates Fortnite from the rest of the community, because they have found their lane, and they are finding new ways to branch out from that lane but still stay in between the lines.
Yes.
And they're drawing within those lines, kind of branching out a little bit just to find how far they can go, and they can continue to survive in this market and I guess what's the word I'm looking for, and cater to the specific demographic of people that was generally the majority of people under the age of 18.
Younger folks, the younger crowd.
Younger folks.
That's who's playing Fortnite. Let's
I mean, outside of the professional gamers, outside of that, and even them, they're branching out to other games. It has found its niche. It's found its way to survive in this market, and it's unique in that way. And I will give them credit for that, because they definitely earned that.
Yeah.
Outside of how I feel about the game,
they have, and again, like I said, these games all occupy a space because of their uniqueness individually. Again, Fortnite does it the way they do it. It's the look of it, the audience that it appeals to. Again, it's a building simulator battle royale that operates in the same, kind of. And then you look at Apex. Apex is very much about shooting, killing. it's more about the the specific skill sets of specific characters, right? So it's the specific skill sets of the different characters available to you to use play a part in whether the outcome of the matches. In Fortnite, they don't have, there's no classes, there's no different players with skill sets that apply, so Apex is able to occupy that lane. And again, Warzone occupies a lane where it's like, it feels like Call of Duty. It pretty much is Call of Duty, but it has all these different little things that it does, and the gulag and all these different things that are very Call of Duty, that it's really about, look, get these contracts. You can do these contracts. You can do these different things to get points, and it allows you to occupy that space separately than these other two games. So it's like, these battle royale games, and they've taken, pieces from, like, you look at how Apex has taken those skill-based, individual characters, how they take that from games like, those team-based games like Overwatch, those type of games, that these games descendant from the Team Fortress branch, where the skill set of the individual characters is what's important. And Apex took that and it was like, okay, Respawn was like, all right, let's take that and make a battle royale game out of it with our shooting system. And it worked, and it worked out famously. So it's one of those things where these games can occupy the same space. And again, what we're going to see going forward, let's see if Valorant is right around the corner. I think
I was about to speak to that when you brought up Overwatch, and I've been watching it, and I'm trying to get into the closed beta now. I signed up my Riot Games account, and I'm my Twitch. I gotta watch, I think, a couple hours of Valorant on my Twitch.
Valorant is coming, and for the, again, where it goes, we'll see. Obviously, it's a PC game. Will it make its way to consoles? We'll see if that eventually happens.
It's already in closed beta process on PS4 and Xbox One right now.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
You gotta set up your Riot Games account, attach it to your Twitch account. So go log on to Twitch, link your Riot Games account or League of Legends account to your Twitch, and then watch at least 2 hours of Valorant. Keep that shit up.
Okay.
And you have the chance to get dropped a closed beta code.
Okay. Cool. So everybody go do that and go see if you can check out Valorant. All right. So moving right along, we will move on to our last topic. Again, keeping up with Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. Okay, we got another patch update. All right, 1.21 patch update. If you're playing on Xbox, it's going to cost you another 30 gigs. So I think we're up over 200 gigs at this point. All right. So for this one, we're gonna bring Dre in here because I haven't gotten a chance to go over the finite details of how everything plays out. But I know I know some of the updates in the patch, like for instance, the gulag, they finally added
some damn actual
something other than pistols and shotguns.
Like, yo, just give me a knife in my fist. Like, I'd rather just have that.
Right. We actually got assault rifles, machine guns, automatic, 6 different assault rifles and machine guns that are actually automatic. We got blood money quads. It's funny because one of the things I was calling back to before, they actually added a classic battle royale mode. So because now I guess they've heard enough of, well, this really just feels like Call of Duty. It's not a true battle royale game. So what they did was they actually added the classic battle royale mode, which takes out contracts. There's no buy stations or gulag. So it's just straight battle royale.
I actually didn't read that portion. Actually,
yes. So it's just straight battle royale. So it's like, okay, that might, but again,
is it still 150?
Huh?
Is it still 150 people or is it 100?
I'm pretty sure it's still
150.
Yeah. So it's still 150, and again, some of the other finite details and some of the balance changes for the weapon. Some of the weapons got some balance changes, and we've got some new maps added. Was one of the bigger things for the reason for the big update. But again, Dre, you've played more of it than either of us had because I haven't played any of it. I did do the update, but I didn't get a chance to jump back into the game. So you speak on how you think it feels, and I think you played the new maps?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off by first saying it's actually not 30 gigs, it's 30.86
Oh,
gigs
I'm sorry, my
that is
bad.
taken up on your Xbox.
That's very
So
important.
very, very important. And I'm really getting tired of all these big updates from Call of Duty. In a sense, I'm gonna take this update and use it to talk about season 3 as a whole.
Okay.
Season
Talk
3
about it.
as a whole has been trash.
Yeah, that's because the maps were trash from the jump.
Right. And I feel like a lot of these updates are actually to make up for season three's rollout.
Yeah, I agree.
I absolutely hate all the new maps. Not the newest ones with this patch, but just the new maps that came out when season 3 was launched.
Mm-hmm.
I hate every single one of them. They've been just completely trashed from the get-go. Now with this update, you only get 2 new maps. Hard Hat and Isle 9. Hard Hat is actually kind of like a remake.
Modern Warfare 3. That's from Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, right.
No.
And it's actually been pretty fun, but I'm not gonna lie, it's super, super hard. Slager and I were playing it the other day, and when we were playing it, we were literally talking about how it's one of those maps where it's super hard to try and find that one good spot. There is, in my opinion, there is a spot that is a super dope spot, but you only have maybe like a small window to get as many kills as possible before someone's creeping up behind you and they picked you off from behind. Now Isle 9, I love Isle 9. Isle 9 is basically kind of like, so you when you all played lastly, you all know like the Superstore map.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much that in a smaller scale. So they have a whole playlist for it and everything, and it's only like a 6-person playlist. So 3v3, and it's basically kind of like the smaller game modes, so kind of like gun game, team deathmatch, kill confirmed, just the smaller stuff because it's just a smaller map, smaller people. But even though it's a small map, there's so many different avenues, so many different ways you can go as you could, in Superstore with all the different boxes and shells and ledges, things like that. So that's been pretty fun. But outside of that, Hard Hat, me personally, I haven't enjoyed Hard Hat unless I'm with a group. I played it by myself, for a few hours, and I was like, man, this isn't that fun. Isle 9, you can play Isle 9 by yourself or with a group, and you'll have a fun time. You'll have a good time. Now, when it comes to Warzone, I think Warzone is just slowly building upon itself. A lot of stuff, I'm pretty sure when they first thought of Warzone or they first said, hey, we're gonna throw this into the game, I know there was one guy in that meeting room that said, hey, well, let's throw this, and someone had to rein him back and be like, look, we'll roll this stuff out slowly. Let's just see how this is gonna go, because this is new to Call of Duty people, whether or not they've played battle royale games before.
Right.
So with it, they do have the classic battle royale. There is absolutely no gulag. There is no contracts. If I'm not mistaken, they actually still have like the bounty hunter type stuff because it deals with the actual players on the map. But the actual like recon contracts and stuff like that, that's not there. No gulag. You're just there. 150 people dropped on the map. You got a time limit. Last man standing. Fight for it. And that's basically what that is. In solos, I believe they've also removed the gulag from solos. I've only played solos about once or twice, but they've removed the gulag from the solos. But you can, if you have enough money, you can buy yourself back. You can still purchase self revives, things like
Okay.
that. And then the Blood Money quads is basically just the quad version of the now I forgot what it was called when it was trios. But basically the mode that you can play, all you do is just racking up money, first team to 1 million.
Yeah.
You know, you get it's basically the same mode. It's just that now you have 4 people.
Right.
So that's basically the main thing with the Warzone. Now I'm actually happy about the Gulag update with the fact that they've added more weapons. I was fine with the pistol. I was absolutely trash with the shotgun.
And that automatic shotgun was so
Yeah.
garbage.
And but I think I was actually better with the shotgun than I was with the marksman rifle. I think I might have only gotten out of the Gulag once with a marksman rifle. But now they have added assault rifles and everything is automatic in there, no 3-round burst or single fire.
Yeah,
at least with those weapons. But they still have all the other weapons in there for rotation.
Yes.
So it's a good update in the sense that they're trying to keep people, you know, around and not throw the game away, because the game has been out for almost an entire year now. But they're supposed to be dropping season 4 here soon. I think here in about 4 months, the game will be out for a year. But season 4 is supposed to be dropping soon. And because of how bad the season 3 rollout was, they definitely got to keep people around. To keep people in line. I have not played the special ops yet. There was also a ghost bundle that was attached to this. I did not buy the DLC. But that's pretty much everything that went on with this update.
I see they also got something else they added to Warzone was an armor box. So it's
and
available.
The bunkers are now unlocked.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Like, so this armor box it's like loot that you can get either on the ground or you can purchase at a buy station. It's a resupply for your entire team's armor.
Yeah.
So
that comes in handy because, you know, especially like Courtney's famous clip on Facebook when he's basically there trying to save Slater on I's life. And he's running around trying to drop, you know, armor plates for us and taking off 6 people with RPG. You know, a loot, you know, a box like that, an armor box definitely would have came in handy in that situation.
100% facts.
Definitely, without that armor, you're getting burnt through.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think. I've said what I said about the Call of Duty and these updates, and again, I think. And I agree 100% with what you said about this update being kind of the unofficial these fixes because of how bad season 3 was at the onset. Like, it's just like
because you got to look at everything since season 3 has came out. We had, and I don't remember every individual update, but two big things that they've done to basically keep players around and lift player spirits about this is the first update, they actually gave us 24/7 of shipment in a playlist.
Yep.
And it was 24/7 of shipment in a playlist with 10v10.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was wild.
Actually chaos. I'm glad I missed that time.
No, you actually should not be happy that you missed that because it was fun. it was a lot of chaos. It was a lot of chaos, but
you were literally spawning in front of people 6v6.
Bruh,
so that is spawning in front of at least 3 people 6v6.
Bro, this 10v10, you're in games where people are getting 115, 120 kills. Like if you're in there and you get less than 30 kills,
you're doing something wrong.
Don't even pick up the game anymore. Like it's easy to pick up your kill streaks and all kinds of stuff, but it's also easy to lose them because it's incredibly hard to pick up your care package and all that kind of stuff if you have a care package. So, but that was one major thing that they did. They gave us 24/7 of shipment, which, you know, shipment is everyone's favorite map. So, you know, they only roll that out, you know, every now and then, you know, when they have their double XP weekends, like, hey, maybe we'll throw shipment into this weekend. But to give it to us for multiple weeks, like that was one thing. And you know, this one, all the Warzone updates and the 2 new maps with this, I think it was just something else to uplift people's spirits.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was funny about shipment is that I like it, and it's crazy though because I haven't been on the game in a couple of weeks, but it's like I've mostly transitioned to playing, you know, pretty much hardcore. I stick to the same kind of modes that I've been playing.
Welcome.
But here's what I realize is the worst possible thing in the world, and that's playing through a playlist or playing through hardcore and cycling into the shipment map on hardcore,
Yikes.
it is a disaster. And people still have the nerve to like
AIDS.
be on like using RPGs, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know, this is hardcore. I understand the shipment, but maybe don't use RPGs on shipment.
Taking out friend and foe.
Like, you just don't care.
I mean, after 3 kills, after 3 team kills, you just kill yourself at that point. So
Yeah, but that's
get it out early, please. Just get it out early if you're gonna use it. I'd be like, oh, I'm about to kill you. I'm like, no, you're not. You're about to die. It's fine.
You are killing yourself. It is hard to avoid team killing on shipment on hardcore. It's almost impossible. I challenge anybody to not team kill one time on shipment you playing hardcore. It's impossible. You can't do it.
Thanks.
Maybe I'll get back on there. I don't know. We'll see.
I still haven't fully moved over to hardcore. I still only like hardcore when I'm with a group of people. I don't really like it too much.
And speaking of hard hat, remembering what it was in Modern Warfare 3 is definitely a team-oriented map, because there are very specific places that you have to hold and control if you don't want to get flanked or the spawns flipped or just wiped from just this one particular fucking piece of cylinder concrete that you can creep through that literally can uproot your entire team in one full swoop. So if hard hat, you should definitely play with a team. But hopefully they add some more Modern Warfare 2 maps. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's what they should do.
And then I'm gonna say this one thing. When you were talking about Black Ops, I actually enjoyed the aspect of Black Ops going back in time. Now I get what you were saying about multiplayer, and I didn't think about that at that time. But because my thing is always that Black Ops, especially when Black Ops first came out, it did a great job with the campaign. When they had the numbers and everything going across the screen, and you were trying to connect all the dots and figure out what like the whole puzzle, like at the end and whatnot. They did a great job with zombies, and then Nuketown. Who doesn't love Nuketown?
Nuketown.
I love Nuketown. I ain't gonna lie.
Original Nuketown, not this other shit.
Yeah, the original one. Now, and that's the thing. If they bring Nuketown back, Nuketown's gonna basically be Black Ops' shipment. So if the weapons aren't that good, or whatever, they just throw 24/7 Nuketown in there, and everyone forgets about it, and everyone's happy.
The weapons gotta be good. That's really
the thing, though, at the same time, that being it Cold War, the weapons didn't. Okay, outside of there not really being an M4, there was still very much so the M16. So that'll be generally probably more than likely an M4. They still had the AK. The AK still existed.
That's gonna be in every game, yeah.
AK-74U even.
That's true. That'll be in there.
Everyone's pistol skills are probably gonna get better.
M1911 definitely still there. So that's like my favorite pistol period. I don't know if they'll have a Deagle there. Probably not.
They might. I think it was in Black Ops.
Maybe. Maybe Black Ops 2. I think it was definitely in Black Ops 2, not sure Black Ops 1. Because I watched Josh, SBC Primetime, land a Moab with a Desert Eagle. With no attachments or perks.
Thanks.
On Black Ops 2.
Thanks.
So, yeah, that was definitely there. But it'll be exciting to see. I'm really excited to see what... I won't say even excited. I'm really I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see what it will be. I'm curious, apprehensive, if you will.
But think about it, y'all are back. Just a year and a half ago, everyone in the group was dogging me because I was the only person in the group playing Call of Duty.
You was playing all of them. You played all of them, and you were advocating for them even when they were absolutely horrible.
I didn't advocate for Advanced Warfare.
He didn't
advocate for that one.
I can attest to that.
So what other one? There was like 6 more.
There was World War 3. It was World War 2. Was the most recent one before Modern Warfare.
That one wasn't. I didn't finish the campaign in that one. The multiplayer wasn't bad in that one. It just wasn't as enjoyable as it is now in Modern Warfare. But it was a step in the right direction. But it didn't keep me around for long. I probably played it for about 6 months. All the futuristic ones, they're the ones that lost me probably about 2 months into playing the game.
Yeah.
I've seen somebody walk in there with that little wand with the shit on it, and they like wipe like 40 people in a row without getting touched. So there's no point in me playing this game.
Let's just hope that Modern Warfare is the right step. You know, Call of Duty basically doing what's the word I'm looking for? Man, I can't even think about the word I'm thinking of.
They about to fuck shit up. That's
it
why
is the right step.
What the word it is.
It is the right step, and that's the thing. Like, this is the right Modern Warfare.
Rebuild. That's what I was thinking of. Rebuild.
Correct. Modern Warfare was the right step, and it was exactly the step that he needed for the game not to. I don't want to use the word die, but this was the game that it was like, yo, this game needs to be good, like real good, or
real good.
Y'all in trouble. Like,
that's true.
Like, to what extent that would have been, I don't know. But with all these other games, like even though they're different games, but with games, you know, the popularity levels of games like Apex and Fortnite and all these things, like Call of Duty needed Modern Warfare to be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they would have been like, oh man, they would have had to start asking the question, okay, like, what are we doing with this? Like, should we just keep making these, or are we going the Guitar Hero route? Do we just kill this all?
Guitar
Like,
Hero, no.
Like, are we done with this? Like, because Activision is good for running their properties into the ground. That's what
Very good.
That's what they did with Guitar Hero. That's what they did with Tony Hawk. Like, just run it into the ground until it's dead.
That's true.
And Call of Duty was going that direction. And I think Modern Warfare saved it. Where they go from here, we'll see. So, you know, who knows? Again, they need to continue the success of Modern Warfare. Battlefield needs to come back to
maybe Medal of Honor will come back and we'll get some good campaigns for World War I, World War II, Vietnam War.
Maybe.
I highly doubt the multiplayers will be that good, but their campains were dope back in the day.
I don't think we're getting Modern Warfare back again, because I think that was still an EA property, and I don't think they got any reason to dip back into that, because it's
as long as they got Battlefield, they have no reason.
You got Battlefield, you got Respawn under your branch who can give you a Titanfall. I don't think you got Star Wars Battlefront under your branch.
Big facts.
I don't think they need to revisit Medal of Honor. I think that last one they tried to do, how many years ago it was like, okay, I think they were like, okay, Medal of Honor is dead.
It was alive in the PS2 days.
Yeah, it just couldn't continue to compete. It couldn't occupy the same space. It was like
how many times you can do D-Day, all right?
It was just like, what are we doing? Like, you have Call of Duty, you got Battlefield, and it's like, okay, what does Medal of Honor do? Like, the same thing, but not as good. Everybody was just so confused by what it was supposed to keep doing, and it just couldn't continue.
I mean, but it's interesting when you actually talk about the future of the game, because it's hard. It's hard for games like this when obviously in the real world, technology is moving fast, but it's not moving that fast.
Right.
So like Call of Duty is obviously going to be the same game every year, unless they do the advanced warfare, route. And it just didn't work out for them. Like going into space and shooting in space. That first mission when you're in space, everyone was already talking about, man, this isn't right. This can't happen. That's when the physics actually started coming into play in Call of Duty. Before then, no one cared
shooting
about
in space.
But
impossible.
They started doing that crazy stuff, and that's when you have to ask yourself: do we actually release this game every single year, or do we just hold off a couple years and just let the anticipation build and actually work on a decent, dope game?
Correct. And like I said, we'll see what happens. But I mean, when we're talking about shooters, 2020, Halo Infinite. About to
Halo.
Halo Infinite about to put it on the table. I'm just saying, I know Black Cold War is gonna do what it's gonna do, or whatever, or whoever. I don't know if there's any other shooting games on the slate for this year.
Hey, everything's about to change. Holiday 2020.
But Halo Infinite, hey.
Ayo.
You already know how I feel about it. You already know how I feel about it. You know how I feel about my
Fire
and my Halo. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens coming this year. It's going to be a very exciting rest of the year. We got new consoles on deck. Obviously, it was much bigger conversations we'll have about those new consoles and what they're going to be and how they're going to be when they come out. It's going to be a very exciting time once we get some more information about those. But like I said, that information hopefully will be coming soon. Eventually, we'll get out of this pandemic. Whenever that happens, then things will go to a new normal, because things are getting ready to change. We'll have a new normal because the society and the world as we know it is gone. That's this has opened up the door for things to be very different going forward, socially and on a whole scale, and of how we handle things and how we handle society in general. I feel like movies is going to be the first on the chopping block. Theaters specifically, let me rephrase, theaters. The AMCs and the Regals of the world are going to have to find, in my opinion, a new avenue. Because strictly movie releases, I think, are going to be a thing of the past. But that's a different conversation for a different day.
Heyo.
So again, thank everybody for joining the Flash and Dash podcast. We told you we were back, and we are back for good.
Always.
So you can find us on Twitter, Instagram. I'm my SGA Flash, and that boy over there is at SGA Dash.
Big Dash.
And come check out the Facebook page, Sports Gaming Anonymous.
It's a riot.
That's our upper level tier there, or a branch under that. And come check us out. And we will catch you guys next week for some more content, some more gaming news. Again, thank you for joining us. Peace out.
Peace out. Mass Effect coming, baby.
Terrible.